What if I told you you could scan your film for just 53 bucks? Today I'm reviewing the Pixl-latr. It's probably one of the cheapest ways that you can get started off scanning at home today, right now, for just 50 bucks. Before I dive into the Pixl-latr and scanning a bunch of film I just shot, hey, my name is Will and welcome to the channel. If you are just discovering this channel, it's all about film developing, film shooting, film scanning. So if you're into that kind of thing, hit that subscribe button and keep following along and learning about all of those things. The Pixl-latr comes from all the way over the pond, across the pond, however you say it. And it's just the most simple device. And here it is. This is the box for it, just real thin. It's made in UK. It was a Kickstarter. And it says that it was funded in less than 3 hours. That's pretty awesome. Designed and made in the UK. So it's really cool to support a photographer that saw a need to have a cheap scanner for photographers. So you got some stuff in the box. Getting started guide. And then there it is, the simple film scanner. Made out of a plastic, hard plastic material, and all these pieces are removable. And there's this diffuser on the back and slots right here that the film goes through. I think it's set up for 35mm right now, but we'll have to see. Okay, so in the box it also has a bunch of other pieces to change the size of this to fit 120, 35mm, and it can fit all the way up to 4x8 on there as well, and the different sizes of 120 by using these adapters. So I'm going to open it up and see what our different adapters are here. They say different things on the back here, but they have configurations. So it says what each one of the gates are, and then you can turn and it tells you exactly which gates to use for which types of film. So we're going to start out with 35mm, and then we're going to use 120 a little bit later, so I've got a lot of rolls to scan. So let's configure it, pull the gates out. This is gate 2, so that was in the right spot. This is gate 4. Okay, so it goes gate 4, gate 2. And then if this is gate 1, we're all good to go. It is gate 1. Okay, now I could put the whole film strip right here, or you can take the 35mm stopper thing and put it in different spots on here to close off the light. And that's pretty much how it is. This back diffuser separates. And one of the cool things about this is it was designed to use with a light source, but you can also use it with your phone as a white background and shine through. So another way that you can use the Pixl-latr is actually with these two little stands, and you just shove those in the back right there. And you can stand this up to have a light shine from behind it. Maybe you want to use a window or a lamp, and you can actually just take photos of the negative while it's standing up using a backlit light source. That's one way to do it if you're in a pinch, so you can scan kind of anywhere, or you can just lay it on a light source like an iPad or a light table. In this case, I'm going to use this little light here. I got this light for actually another scanning project I'm going to be doing pretty soon. It's pretty cool, gets pretty bright. The only problem is these knobs on the back don't let it sit flush. So I'm actually going to use the cardboard box it came with. And I've got a 3D printer coming, and I'm going to 3D print a box so it sits flat on the table. I'm going to start using this and come along for the journey. I haven't done DSLR scanning before. This is a cheap way to get into it, and I'll show you a little bit about what I'm doing in my process. I've got it set up here. It's kind of taking up the whole table, and I'll show you a little bit about that. I'm going to be doing tethering here, which is a whole new thing for me. I had to learn a lot about tethering. I'm going to make another video about tethering another day. If you're a Sony shooter, I can teach you about tethering. If you're a Canon shooter, you might have to look somewhere else. But Anyways, so it's dialed in right now. I'll take that camera to some B-roll so you can see a little bit of it, and I'll show you a little bit on the screen of what I'm looking at in my tethering, and then I'll take a couple images in Lightroom and see how they look. Okay, and so it's not as, you know, dialed as the negative supply, you know, that you can just use a knob and like advance it forward. You got to kind of use your hands a little bit on this. But it, you know, it does a pretty good job at keeping it flat. Any non-flatness is actually either my lens bowing it on the corners or this janky tripod setup I have going on right here. I need to get a stand. This is all just like the most basic setup that you can do. But anyways, so my camera's on f11 so that I can focus more on everything. It should already be dialed in. I can pretty much tell that it is. And so yeah, I'm gonna fire it from the remote capture. And when you focus this, you want to focus on the grain and not on that building. You can kind of see the grain come into focus there. All right, take my image. Keep on moving. Kind of want it to curl, but it's not curling. Okay, I've got a few images in there. Let's pull them in Lightroom and see how they look. All right, I already pulled in my Weston shot. That was an awesome shot. There is a way to have these go auto-populated straight into Lightroom. I actually forgot how to do that at the moment. So let me try to pull up some of what I think my favorites might be. So I think this sign might be really cool. I'm gonna take my dropper, come to the edge, crop it in a little bit for Negative Lab Pro to take its vibes on there. There we go. It's on Frontier right now. I'm gonna put on the Noritsu. I like the Noritsu scan a little better. Boom, there it is. All right, so I'm on cinematic. I'm gonna reset it here. You've got that glow from all the neons. That looks really cool. Let me dial in the color. This is where I had it on the last one. I think that looks really good. And this was really just Cine D. Had a little bit of warmth. And I went to the highlights and added a bit of that red back in there. Kind of brought the brights down a little bit. They kind of look up. All right, there looks cool. I'm gonna apply that. Zoom in here and see how sharp it is. So here's the real trick in this. I actually think it's pretty sharp. I'm gonna back up just a little bit so we can see those edges. And unlock this. Bring it down for 35. I had something in the frame right there, so that's why that's blacked out. So I think that looks really cool. There's a little bit of bowing, and that is really from the lens. Doesn't really look like it's doing much. So I can go down to lens corrections, and I can kind of mess with that bowing a little bit. And that kind of straightens it out a little bit. And that is actually from my lens right now. It's not a macro lens, I'm just using some tubes on it. But you can kind of correct that right now. So I'm gonna pull in a little bit more. That looks really cool. So it's not as sharp as I would like. It's pretty sharp. I actually like the softness a little bit. And I know 35mm is a lot softer. But when we scroll super far in, it's not that digital noise you get from the flatbed. I feel like it's not. You'd probably see it better in whites. But it looks more soft and grainy than it does actually that digital noise that you get from the flatbed. I like this. I think this looks really cool. How easy it was to get this was pretty awesome. I'm just gonna copy this setting, see how it looks on a couple of them. This one was a couple different settings to kind of mess with. Do you like it kind of underexposed? Do you like it a little overexposed? This one looks a little over. You can bring it down a little bit though, and now that looks really good. I really liked this hull. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's awesome. And then same thing, this one was a little overexposed. Dial the greens out of it. That's really cool looking. All right, it's the next day. I just scanned a bunch of 35. I just showed you a bunch of that. It was really cool. It worked really well. My base for the light is not very sturdy because it's made out of cardboard. That's gonna be changed very soon. I've got a 3D printer coming. I'm gonna make a better base for that. So right now, that was a little annoying to do, but way faster than doing the flatbed scanner. So now I'm gonna try out 120 in this thing. I've gotta change it with a couple of pieces here to dial that in and dial it in for 645, so it's masked off. So the instructions say gate 4 and gate 3. So here's gate 3, that needs to go at the bottom. And then this is gate 1, so I'm not using that one. Gate 4 goes at the top. Using this with my janky setup, I've definitely noticed that it would probably like to be on a light table. I think a light table would be the best use for this, which is just a flat pad with light. I got my scenario because it's gonna fit in this other scanner that I've got coming, and it produces a little bit more light and a little bit more consistent light. Maybe I should get a light table for this. Maybe it'll be easier, but anyways. So now I'm gonna take my Cine Still. We're gonna load it up here. Don't have scissors right now, so I'm just gonna open it up and slide it in. Okay. Try to manage dust in there. It's holding it pretty flat. So I wanna mask this off as much as I can. That's where this 120 splitter comes in. And I'll move my image all the way to the end here, and I'll put my splitter in there. We're gonna set up our janky setup again and get going with this. What's cool about this is you can do all different frames. You can shift this around and get your 6x6, get your 6x9. You can get all sorts of stuff with this. So yeah, I'm definitely noticing some reflections there. So I'm gonna try to set up something to block some of those reflections. So let me see if I can do something janky. Okay, so I've just got this piece that was used to mask off, and you can see light, no light. So that's helping a little bit there. And maybe that will just have to do. This is the most janky setup. So yeah, let's go into the computer. So again, we've got some bowing on the outside. And again, I think that is from my rings here. These rings are cool and help you get macro, but I think it just doesn't let the outside shine a little bit. So I'm probably gonna get a macro lens eventually, rescan some of these at a 1:1 ratio. But right now, this is what I've got. And I mean, it looks really good. Around the edges looks a little out of focus. And again, I think that's this camera, not my camera I was shooting on. I was shooting this on the Mamiya 645 Pro. So I need to change my file location here. All right, there we go. There's changed. Now I can start shooting. So there's one. I already nailed the focus on that one. I'm gonna pull it through. And I'm trying to focus on the grain. It's really hard to see the grain in the camera's noise. Zoom in one more time. Pew, pew. Oh yeah, we're not in focus. There it is. I think we got it there. All right, let's take that photo. So I actually was reading that you should lift up on the device. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to pull that up and then pull it through. I think that will be much better. And then once you set it up, then you re-crush it down. And that flattens it. You can kind of do some micro adjustments there. All right, I'm gonna pull this one into Lightroom. And look at it. There's one of them I was already messing with. I couldn't help myself. All right, so let's pull this one in. And I'm gonna fix that bow a little bit. In my lens corrections distortion. That fixes that. I took my dropper, I grabbed the edge. I'm gonna come in, crop it. So that negative lab knows what we're looking at. Let's go into negative lab. I'm using Nuritsu high contrast. Took a long time. Nice, that looks so cool. I'm gonna reset it here. Let's go in Cine Still T. Sometimes the D looks better. All right, that looks awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and put the frontier on it. It looks a little like we need to pull the reds down in the highlights. There it is. Pull the magenta up a little bit to get that sunset. And the reds, bring those up because those are all red lights down there. And that's way more true to what I was seeing. Bring in that orange in the mids, a little bit of red in the mids, a little bit. It's kind of blue on the shadows, so maybe I want to pull that up. Add a little magenta to the shadows. Yeah, that looks really good. Okay, now I'm gonna mess with these. A little less contrast, looks good. Bring down the darks a little bit. And probably bring up the whites because I want those lights to pop like Cine Still. And then bringing down our blacks really makes it pop. I don't want to bring it down too much though. I really like that. Wow, that's awesome. And I can kind of adjust my frame here. There it is, that's really cool. Down there with all those lights. Zipping like that, looks so cool. Yeah, I love that. So I'm gonna scan the rest of these, and while I'm doing that, show you some of the shots I got from this. I'm gonna do a whole video on this Atlanta shoot, so definitely look for that in the upcoming weeks. And I gotta say, my review for this, and just using it for a little bit, I really like it. I think that the limitations right now are obviously on me. I definitely should use a copy stand. I definitely need something better to hold it up. But for something that's so basic, only $50 US, it scans all types of film. I think it's a great buy for someone who already has a digital camera, and that with this setup, you can be going for 50 bucks. That's cheaper than a flatbed scanner, but you already have the camera. I think that's the best way to go, something cheap like this. Negative Lab just came out with a $100 pull through 35mm scanner, but this can scan all your types of film that you're gonna use, and it's pretty awesome. Now, I will show some updates with it as I get a better setup for it, but I think the limitations of the actual device are limitless, but obviously you need a couple more things for DSLR scanning. I'm just getting into it, and I know I need some stuff, so don't write so many bad comments about that. But anyways, I think it's a great product for 50 bucks. It is plastic, it is a little flimsy, but it holds it down pretty well, and I think you guys should check it out. And that's the Pixl-latr. I'm not sponsored by Pixl-latr at all. I just wanted to try this product out. I'm gonna be buying like pretty much all the film scanners that are on the market, trying them out and comparing them over the next year or so. And I really want that information out to you guys. So keep watching this channel if you want to learn more about that. If you want to learn more about developing and scanning on the flatbed. I'm going to be doing some Lightroom tutorials. There's a lot more coming down. And if you want to see all those, write them down in the comments. Leave me messages. Hit me up on Instagram about any of those that you want to see. If you have any questions about how to do any of this stuff, just reach out. I'd love to talk to you. I am really open to talking to anyone on Instagram and all that. And yeah, I'm here to help. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. like and subscribe, do all that stuff. Follow me on Instagram, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.